Hello again, my DIY loving friends. I'm Sayre, and this is Medicated Housewife DIY, where crafting and mental health come together. Today, we're diving into the world of Dollar Tree treasures to create 3 high-end DIY projects that will transform your home decor without emptying your wallet. Today, we're all about elegance on a budget. So what are we waiting for? Let's go make some DIY magic together. For this DIY, I've got this palm leaf hanger from Dollar Tree in my stash, and I've already removed the peg from the bottom, as you see right here. I've also got this small MDF box from Dollar Tree, which I'll be using for this project as well. The first thing I'm doing is to fill that hole left from the peg I've removed. I'm going to use some Elmer's wood filler to fill in the hole so that we'll get a smooth surface, and I'll link that for you in the description box below. I did realize quickly that I needed to place a piece of painter's tape on the back of the hole so the filler didn't fall out of the back, and I filled the hole as smoothly as I could, and then I put it aside to fully dry. I used a small screwdriver to remove the screws and label holders on 2 sides of the MDF box and then discarded them. Once the wood filler dried, I sanded the surface with a sanding sponge, and I removed the painter's tape from the back, as well as removing the metal hanger and screws from the back of the leaf with that same small screwdriver. Then I used a screwdriver to make some deep distress marks on the surface of the leaf, some going down the middle, some going through the middle of those leaf sections, just to add some character, some aging, and some visual interest to the surface when we paint it. I also lightly sanded the MDF box to smooth out the surface to accept paint. I'm using this folk art acrylic paint in the color Butter Pecan, which I will link for you below, and I give a generous coat of the paint on the entire surface of that leaf, including all of those leaf edges. Then I painted the edges and the inside walls of the MDF box with that same Butter Pecan paint. I did a second coat of the Butter Pecan on that leaf for full and total coverage. Next, I'm using some folk art antique wax and a small brush to fill in all those deep grooves that I've created with the screwdriver earlier. I fill in the scratches with the wax, and then I'm going to use a dry paper towel to rub and to smudge the wax from around the scratches, just to blend it in a little bit. Using a dry chip brush and some more antique wax, I paint a more even coat of the wax on the front of the leaf to get more of a deeper, darker brown overall, while still having the scratches and grooves that I had made be more prominent and darker than the overall surface. I start painting the box with that same antique wax and chip brush, just doing a distress paint type technique, first on the inside of the box and the inside walls, then making my way to the outside walls of the box until finally using a smaller brush to paint the edge of the box walls with the antique wax. I added some more wax to the front of the leaf, as well as making sure that all the outside edges around the leaf were painted with the wax too. I had 4 wood beads in my stash, like the kind you can get at Dollar Tree, but I'll link these for you below. I placed the beads on a skewer and painted them with the antique wax to match the color of the box and the leaf. I'm using E6000 glue to attach the 4 wood beads to the 4 bottom corners of my box to raise it up a bit and give it some height. Lastly, I add some E6000 to the bottom edge of the leaf and stand the leaf up on the back edge of the wood box, placing a tall item behind it and one in front to hold it in place as it dries overnight. And this is my raised wood leaf trinket box. I really like how different we were able to make that MDF leaf look for this DIY. This is a truly quick and easy DIY that yields a very high-end piece of decor that is a freestanding box. But if you didn't want to use the beads, you could keep the hanger on the back of the leaf, and you could use this as a small decorative shelf as well. All wood and fully functional, a winning DIY. For this DIY, the brown blocks are back, my friend, and as your official self-appointed ambassador of Dollar Tree Brown Tumbling Tower Blocks, we're going to use 231 of these lovely rectangles of brown wood. I do this for you. You're welcome. To begin with, I'm going to be making rows of 4 blocks that are glued together end to end, as you see here. I'm using the SuperGlue Wood Glue from Dollar Tree to attach them, and we'll be making a total of 42 of these 4-block rows. Yes, it's a lot of 4-block rows. I know. We're making 42 of them. After making the 42 sets of 4 blocks, I'm then making 21 sets of 2 blocks, also attached end to end like the 4-block sets. And then I am also using 21 single brown tumbling tower blocks as well, in addition to the sets of 4 and the sets of 2. And that makes a total of 231 blocks used. I'm using Folk Art white chalk paint, which I will link for you below, and I'm going to be painting both of the flat wide sides of all my sets, the 42 sets of 4, as well as the 21 sets of 2 and the flat sides of the 21 single blocks. No paint on the edges or the ends, just on those flat wide sides. I do my best to stay in the lines with the paint and not to overlap any paint onto those edges and those ends. With all my sets of blocks and single blocks painted on the wide flat sides off camera, I used a sanding sponge to roughly distress all those visible brown edges and ends to really change up their dull, flat brown appearance and give them all more visually interesting looks. I'm going to assemble all of these into tall squares. Each square using 2 sets of 4 combined with 1 set of 2 and 1 single block, as you see here. I place the 2 sets of 4 opposite one another with a set of 2 on one side and the single block across from that. Hopefully that makes sense to you. You can always pause, replay, or slow down the video at any point if you need to. I'm going to be using up all the sets that I made to make everything into these tall squares. Just watch the video to see how I make these, and you'll understand just by seeing me do it several times. So, full transparency here, I had no idea how I was going to assemble this. I really just had to wing it as I went along. I knew I had to start on sort of a diagonal, so I attached 3 of the tall squares together, going diagonally. And I also knew I wanted to have the 4-block side followed by the 2-block side and then the single block side, sort of creating a pattern. You do not have to follow my pattern. There is no right or wrong here. I was really just trying things out and moving them around, and truly was just hoping I'd end up with a sort of diamond or square-ish shape in the end. So I just kept attaching the squares one by one, trying to be mindful of the overall shape of the top that I would end up with. It's not a foolproof plan, I admit, but I really felt that the color combo of the blocks, and especially the two-tone squares from the top view, looked really cool. And I just did my best to make everything work. And you'll notice that I did leave off the last tall square I made because I really just didn't see a place for it. And I end up with this diamond shape that's comprised of 4 rows of 5 of these tall square shapes, all staggered diagonally. It was like a stream of consciousness DIY. I just let it ride, and I really just hoped that I ended up liking the results. And this is my two-tone tall wood riser made of painted and distressed brown tumbling tower blocks. You might love it. You might hate it. I kind of love it. I definitely love the way it looks from the top view. Those squares of distressed brown wood combined with a chalk white finish, I think looks so upscale. Could the overall form of how the pieces are assembled be improved upon? Probably they could. I'm looking at it as a DIY in progress. Love the concept, but maybe the execution could use a little more thought. Still, overall, another totally unique take on those lovely brown tumbling tower blocks that hasn't been done before. You be the judge. For this DIY, I've got this thick jute I got on Amazon, and I'll link it for you below. I cut 8 pieces of the jute that I can fold in half, and the length of each folded side is just about 8 to 10 inches. It's not exact. I've also got this wood ring, like the kind you can get at Dollar Tree, and using some hot glue, I attach the folded middle of each of the 8 pieces of jute onto the wood ring, spaced out as evenly as I can without measuring. I cut a long piece of that seam jute, and using a dab of hot glue to secure the end of the jute inside the wood ring, I begin wrapping the jute around the wood ring, wrapping it over those middle folds of the pieces we cut and glued to the ring. So now they're being held in place by the wrapped jute, which is a lot more secure than just a dab of hot glue that we use to attach each of them. I keep wrapping until the whole wood ring is completely covered in the jute, and none of that wood can be seen. I've also got this balloon here that I blew up and placed a bamboo hoop from Dollar Tree over the balloon, placed in the middle of the balloon. I'll be placing my jute wrapped wood ring at the top of that balloon. I mix some plain water with equal parts white school glue from Dollar Tree. I dip the jute-covered wood ring and all of those hanging pieces into the glue and water mixture. And then I'm going to place it back on top of my balloon. And this time, I tuck all those hanging pieces of jute that we cut under the bamboo hoop so that they will now be stuck between the hoop and the balloon. Then I cut some shorter half-moon pieces of jute, dropped them into the water and glue mixture, and I placed them between 2 hanging pieces of jute, like little upside-down smiley faces or half-moons, going all the way around the balloon. And when I'm all the way around the balloon, I'm going to make a second row of half-moon pieces going beneath the first row. I let the whole thing dry overnight, and somewhere into the night, that balloon deflated all on its own. And like so many of you, I've watched too many 5-minute craft videos, and I really should have known better that all those little half-moon smiley pieces would not be sturdy enough to stay attached to the hanging pieces of jute just from the glue and water alone. And they were not. They're pretty flimsy. So I decided to use some jute twine to wrap all the connections between the hanging pieces and the shorter half-moon connected pieces together. And then also to connect the hanging pieces to the bamboo hoop. This not only serves to secure the smaller pieces of jute, but also has a bit of a decorative kind of macrame knotted look as well. So I'm not terribly disappointed. At least the entire thing didn't collapse on itself, and frankly, I've seen that happen, so lucky us. To cover up the mess that was going on the bamboo hoop, I cut a whole bunch of shorter pieces of the thick jute to fold over the top edge of the bamboo hoop, using hot glue to secure each piece on both sides of the hoop. This would camouflage all of our wrapped knots that connected the hoop to the rest of our jute bowl, and also would make it easy to then unravel the ends of those pieces to make a fringy kind of edge around the top of the bowl. Spoiler alert, it's a bowl. Then I went through the hanging pieces at the top of the bowl, unraveled all of them, and I used a comb to fluff them out even more. I was trimming them and fluffing them and trimming them and fluffing them all around until they reached a length that I thought that they should be. And clearly, because to me, less is not more, apparently. Apparently only more is more. I grab this nautical rope from Dollar Tree and wrapped it around the outside of the bowl over the top of the fringe just one time, securing it in place with some hot glue. I had 16 of these small wood half rounds in my stash, so I placed them on some packing tape with the sticky side up to keep them in place. And I'm going to paint them with some folk art antique wax that I've mixed with water, just to give them a warm brown tone, but still with the wood grain coming through. Once the half rounds dried, I removed them from the tape, and I'm using some hot glue to attach one half round to the center of each of my jute wrapped quote unquote knots that hold the half moon pieces to the other jute pieces. I'm going to go all the way around with the first row, and then I'm going to turn the bowl upside down so that the fringe won't get in the way while I glue the rest of those half rounds to those knots that are around the upper row. And this is my jute macrame decor bowl. And you know, I've always wanted to make a rope bowl using a balloon, and now I have. I can cross it off my bucket list. On the upside, it did not cave in, and it's sturdy enough to place some fruit in on a table or a kitchen counter, or flowers or greenery. And on the flip side, if you flip it over, it might make a really interesting boho-style lampshade. Just a thought. Not bad for some jute at Dollar Tree school glue. Thanks for joining me on this crafting adventure. I hope you loved these high-end Dollar Tree DIYs as much as I enjoyed creating them. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and join our crafty community for more inspiring projects. Let me know in the comments which DIY was your favorite and why. You know I love hearing from all of you. Until next time, remember that together we're making the world a more beautiful place, one DIY at a time.